So it's still following the tractor because the tractor is actually still moving. But it'll show you the path that you cut. So in green is what we actually would have cut if we're mowing, you know, or cutting hay or whatever. So right there, it told me that I covered 2.84 acres. And it even tells me how long it took me. Welcome back, everyone. I know I didn't talk much about the radio issues in previous videos, but something's up with the radio in this thing. And there's times that it'll play music with the voices, and there's times that it just plays like the instruments and you can barely hear the voices in the background. And then there's times that it'll play all of it, but it's incredibly quiet even with it all the way turned up. So I don't know what's up with it. Either way, I wanted to work right because I'd like to be able to have music. We tried different sources, you know, as far as like auxiliary, radio, and even USB, and none of them seem to make a difference. So pretty much just diagnosed the fact that there's got to be something wrong with the radio itself. Okay. I don't know how well you all can see it, but these aren't labeled at all as far as, you know, what is a positive and negative for the speaker. And I'm wondering if this is the issue. They had the positive and the negative as the purple and whites, and the positives for the speakers were the blue or the green and yellow. So I actually have these connectors on here so I can switch them around. So if it's not working right on one setup, I can switch it and see if that's right or wrong or indifferent. We'll see how it goes. All right, moment of truth. Let's see. Oh, it's a big old screen. Oh, I'm almost done, Belle. It's too windy to play fetch. Your frisbee won't go nowhere. It'll blow right back at me. I would show you guys how good it sounds. However, YouTube copyright infringements would prevent that. So it is in. I absolutely love it. It's the same one I have in my truck. I'm gonna download the Field Navigator app and a couple others to have on here, but absolutely wonderful. It fits. It ain't by much, but it does fit. The tabs are actually holding it and everything like it's supposed to, but yeah, it works great. And it's not below the roof line, so when I get out, I'm not gonna smack my head on it or nothing like that. Turned out very good. So I guess we'll go finish up some lights and such. We have those too. And I have a seat cover for the seat. Probably kind of hard to tell from here. These lights work very well. Now the ones on the front don't seem so bright, just because of the way that they broadcast light. The lights on the front seem to be more of a beam of light, and I adjusted the right hand side of them so to point them down more to see if they'd make it better. It didn't really make them any better. Yeah. But then when you look out the back, everything's lit up much better. Like I said, the rear ones, they definitely seem to be more of a floodlight, and the front seems to be more of a beam. So I think what I might do is take two from the front and put on the back, and two from the back and put on the front. Just because then I'll have a broadcast, you know, it'll be better for that. Because the two on the sides and the front can be more of a floodlight to light up the sides, and then the two on the sides and the back, same concept, and then the two in the middle can be more of a beam to actually go over the hood in this case to see past it, so it's not lighting up the hood. And then on the back we can do the same thing to see behind the implement that's back there. So I don't know, we'll play with it, but for now I'm happy with it. Much better than what it was. So you guys can hear me better. So I think this will be close. Might be a little bit big. I can live with it. Slide that over there. Definitely be a little big there. It's covered. Good enough for a buck. I'll live with it. The yeah, seat cover don't fit perfect, but I'll live with it. We left our hydrant on, and it got down to 23 the other night. And it's needless to say, it split it. So we had the automatic water set up. Everything down here was fine. It just froze up here in the head. Obviously, they didn't drink as much water as I thought they would overnight. So, did it scare you?
It sprayed her right in the face.
Oh man. Do you want to tell him something?
You better fix this.
I brought you the new one. All you gotta do is fix it.
I know.
You guys probably remember. What, 2 years now? Anyways, a while ago when we put water in our pastures, I said, hey, I'll put this PVC casing around it, and then we can just unscrew it and have that little insulation in there. That part all worked great. What I didn't think about was, as soon as you come off of an elbow and you put another piece of PEX instead of it just having an elbow with the threads on it, it pretty much guarantees that you're gonna have to dig this up, because whenever you spin the hydrant, can you spin the hydrant? When you spin the hydrant to loosen it, see how it just spins inside the PVC, or the PEX, I mean? Lesson learned for you guys. I'm gonna see if I have one, and we'll cut that real quick. Yep.
Turn it.
Just twist counterclockwise.
Can't.
Here, hold that. You're killing me. There you go. You got it. Hercules! Hercules! Good thing you... All fixed up? We also gotta get a new splitter though. The splitter cracked as well.
That's a cheap fix.
Yep. Let's race the puppies. Ready, Belle? Go, Bella. You won't be able to see it from your point of view, but anyhow, this 3 acres back here is actually my mother-in-law's. She bought it last year or the year before. The year before. And this past year we brush hogged it, got everything cleaned up, made sure there was all the debris and any other junk, because the previous owners did have some stuff in here that well, we don't have use for it, and it was essentially junk at that point for us. So we went ahead and cleaned it up. One of it was just an old junky building that, I think it was like a trailer shell. Anyways, it's just little sheet metal stuff. So we ended up taking it, and we crushed it with the skid steer, and somebody else actually showed up to haul it away. It's free scrap metal for them, so essentially they'll get paid to take it and turn it in. Anyhow, all that stuff's done. It's all cleaned up. So now we're actually going to roll this, because we want to get it as smooth as possible, as we're really considering cutting hay off of it next year. We're not going to fertilize it this year or anything. We're actually going to attempt to just, well, we might put manure on it, but we're not going to put turkey litter on it. We're going to attempt just to see if we can cut it. There's some spots that are they're not bad spots necessarily, but they're not good either. We're about to see one of them right here. There's just a dip that runs through here. Needless to say, we don't want to run the mower conditioner into it, tear up the blades or tear up gears or anything like that. guys a little bit of action shot, I guess. Pretty much the last little strip. I did do a little bit of dirt work with the tractor and smoothed it over. There's just a couple of humps over here that basically we're going to create a little pond because the water had nowhere to go. It would be trapped between them. As you can see, the pasture's smoother, but not smooth. So, not the end of the world. But it's definitely better than what it was. It would have worked a lot better had we waited until it rained. You know, say a good half inch of rain or something. But since this is a low-lying area, I really don't want to have this big heavy tractor and that big heavy roller in here at that point. Be a little different if we had, you know, like a crawler or, you know, a track loader or something like that to pull the roller with, but the setup we have, we're not going to attempt it. Definitely rolled out some of them. It's a lot smoother. I'm happier with it. We'll see how it goes in the spring. Obviously, if it's not level enough, the blades from the MoCo would actually cut into, you know, mounds or rocks. Rocks were sticking out, anything like that. That's the biggest thing we want to prevent. If it's not smooth, it just means we won't be driving as fast. But as long as it's level enough that it's not gonna do damage to the equipment, that's the important part. So I'm gonna take us back to Jason's. So I used to have a mount for a tablet that I put somewhere over here on either side of the column. Anyhow, this is the Field Navigator app. I don't know how well you guys can see this screen, but we're gonna manual measure a field real quick. We'll fine tune it here in a second. Whoa, that's not what I wanted. Give me a second, I'm getting used to this screen still. So we're gonna save this. Maybe, there we go. All right. So anyways, now you can see these are all the hay fields. I don't have the pastures in here, mainly because I don't keep track of how many acres I'm doing in there. You also notice that our hay field, I have the whole thing in here. I just put it in there. Eventually I will actually go back in there. I gotta get the settings off my phone. So like what I see on this app, I don't see like on my phone if I were to log in or on that tablet. It doesn't have a sign in. It just lets you use it, which is handy because you're not paying for it. On the downside, you can't see it on multiple devices. So if I had, let's say that we put the same radio in the 7045, I would still have to redo all the maps again. So that part's kind of a downside. But for a small operation like me, who generally uses one tractor, this is actually perfect. So like I said, it'll tell you, so like when I touch the hayfield, it tells you how many acres it is, the perimeter again, and you could put it in a group. So I can put it in the hayfield groups or whatever. Touch this other one that we do. This is a custom field, this is Dan's field. It shows 10.3 acres, and that's pretty accurate actually. There's a little spot right here that I actually need to take out. So if I wanted to adjust this, I go up here, I hit the edit, and I can edit the field form, and then we'll zoom in so we can see this wetland, not wetland I guess, but the wet spot. This we'll do right about here. There. That's a little closer. Anyhow, So it's really 9.9 acres is what we end up cutting there. It would be a little more if we could cut this spot right here actually, but I'm afraid to get in there with the mower because there's some rocks, and unfortunately the way that drainage is set up from the road, it drains right into there, so more rocks are going to continue to come even if we clean out the rocks that are in there, and they're the smaller rocks, not big rocks. So we just don't feel it's worth it's not worth the reward. But if I was to go, so since I'm in this field, I'm gonna do this. So I'm gonna hit start, and then it'll tell you what your implement is. So like in my case, I have it set to 10-foot width. So when I start driving, even though I know we're randomly in the field, I have it set to 10 foot because that's how wide our mower is. So until we actually get going in one direction, it might flop around a little bit. But now it knows where we're at. It doesn't have us spinning around anymore. And it'll show us what we've cut. You can see the white lines of the path we actually have taken. And like I said, it's a 10-foot cutting width is what it's showing. Anyhow, you can also manual measure fields, and that's what I'll do on custom deals. So like if I go, well, Dan's I don't because I know the field, but if I was doing custom brush hogging or something like that, I would actually go in there and I'll drive the whole perimeter of the field with the tractor, because that'll actually show exactly what I can and can't, access because of whatever reasons. But gives me a measurement. So if somebody says that, hey, my field's 15 acres, and then I go and measure it, and well, yeah, it's 15 acres, but I can only mow, say, 12 acres of it because of whatever reasons, right? It's beneficial for them because now they're not paying for me to mow 15 acres when I'm really paying, or when I'm really mowing 12 acres. And then it's also beneficial for me because let's say it's the other way around, and they say, hey, I got a 20-acre field, and I'm over there brush hogging it, and I'm like, oh, this is taking forever. And then I realized that, oh no, it's not 20 acres, it's 27 acres. So, and it happens a lot. It happens more than you think. And it's not because people are trying to cheat you or anything like that. A lot of times, they've been told by, mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, whoever, oh, it's a 20-acre field, it's this, that, the other. And so they just go with it. They never have it measured, they never have it checked out to see if that's accurate. And that's okay. But again, I don't want to be cheated, nor do I want to cheat somebody else. So this kind of gives me that benefit. So you can see on here, I'm going to stop. So right there, that path right there, other than where I stopped and I was not horsing around, but moving around. Oh, whoops. So it's still following the tractor because the tractor is actually still moving. But it'll show you the path that you cut. So in green is what we actually would have cut if we were mowing, or cutting hay or whatever. So right there, it told me that I covered 2.84 acres. And it even tells me how long it took me. Now, the timer keeps running even if you pause it. So, and then it'll tell you your average, well, what your speed is currently, which it's a little off right there because we're not moving at the moment. It tells you how long your path was, etc. So there's a lot of good stuff to it. I will say it does, if you're kind of like we are in spotty service and stuff like that, it works off GPS, so you don't have to have internet after you download the app. But it does work much better if I was, so like if I were to broadcast Wi-Fi or do a hotspot from my phone and let this connect to it, it would be far more accurate then. But in this case, I'm just giving you guys an example. So anyhow, now we're gonna take the roller back to Jason.